Jesus in hell was like
Okay, that's my favorite Jesus. $300? They have a $300 a month tier? If that's what the angel looked like, no wonder they always say, don't be afraid. Hi, I'm a messenger of God. Hello, lovely people. My name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. So we've been here before. If you haven't seen my previous video on the AI animated stories of Jesus, do check it out. Not only will it provide some context for this video, but it's also very funny and very good, which is part of why I've decided to do this video. Seems like people enjoyed that one as much as I did, which I'm very glad for, because I bookmarked a couple of other Bible in a nutshell videos that I was interested to check out. We're gonna jump right in with Jesus Goes to Hell. I mean, yeah, the title is why I bookmarked this one. Immediately, I have scriptural questions. Let's just see what happens in the animation, and then we'll talk about it.
After Jesus was crucified, he went on an amazing...
It doesn't even give you... You don't even have a second for the, play button and the UI to disappear from the screen. It's like, oh, there it is, we get... Whoa, dude, chill out.
After Jesus was crucified, he went on an amazing and brave adventure before he came back to life. This adventure was to a part of hell where good souls had been trapped and waited for rescue. Imagine hell like a giant, dark cave, full of shadows and scary noises.
Yeah, shadows. Such as this fucking pointy-chinned, pointy-eared, fey creature. I'm thinking maybe the script was not directly translated into the animation in this one.
The entrance was guarded by big, spooky gates with scary creatures and demons growling and prowling around.
Big spooky gates! I remember that from the Bible, when it describes hell.
It was a place that seemed really frightening. But Jesus, filled with courage and shining bright, stepped into this dark place. When he entered...
What happened to his finger just there? Why has he got a magic blue fingernail? You know, I'm ignoring a few things here. Because AI animation, they have double eyelids like freaky creatures. I looked it up last time because I thought it was snakes, and then it turned out it wasn't snakes, it was other creatures that have double eyelids. Oh, sharks! Sharks have the double eyelids. So people have freaky shark eyes. Their mouths go kind of like this when they're not doing anything. It's pretty weird. So far, this is an improvement on the last one, because previously Jesus was kind of narrating the story. It seemed like they had directly put the script into the animation software, the AI animation software. Oof, I'll get to how annoying that is in a minute. But so you kind of expect all these things, right? How does one fingernail end up blue for half of the scene? That doesn't...
into this dark place. When he entered, it was like a superhero had arrived with bright light. The darkness tried to stay, but it just disappeared wherever Jesus' light shone. The huge gates of hell, which were very scary and strong, couldn't...
How many times does this guy have to reiterate, this guy, as if it's not also an AI voice? How many times does this robot have to reiterate to us that the gates of hell are very spooky and scary? Just in case you didn't get that about hell.
Couldn't stop Jesus. He spoke in a loud, strong voice, and the gates started to crack and break into pieces. It was as if they couldn't stand the goodness and brightness that...
What was that? What was that little snake? Baby snake creature? I feel like they're filling a lot of time with sort of unnamed demons. Oh, we got finglers. At least this time I don't have to count and make a fucking idiot of myself. That's definitely the wrong number of fingers. Maybe he's chopped off a finger and that's what's become this crucifix of light. Isn't it weird to use the symbol of your death as a holy... I feel like it was kind of probably post Jesus' time where the crucifix started to be an important symbol of the faith. I feel like you've just died by crucifixion. That's not going to be your go-to thing, right? I feel like that wasn't really on Jesus' mind. But then we'll get to the scriptural problems with this episode when it's done. So fine. He's got 3 fingers and a giant thumb, and he's making a magic crucifix, which is scaring the tiny snake babies of hell, which is very spooky and scary. Thank you.
That Jesus brought. The creepy creatures guarding the gates got scared of Jesus' light and ran away.
Oh, what the fuckity... I'm sorry. What are these fucking gremlin ass...
Of Jesus' light.
What's this? What are these? Is that Jesus back there? He's like doing some fucking, he looks like a lich. Although I think, to be fair, we've decided that based on the story of the resurrection, Jesus would be a lich. So maybe that's actually kind of accurate. And then there's all these little gremlin things, and some of them have ears and some of them don't, and then they're just melting. Watch them melt.
And ran away.
I'm gonna make you watch them
Jesus walked
melt.
through the darkness like a brave knight.
Like a brave knight. So now he's got armor and dirt smeared on his face? I guess if this is, Spirit Jesus post-death, he can magic armor and dirt onto himself if he wants to, but...
His light making the scary shadows vanish.
He's done now. Get rid of the armor. Give his face a wash. Resculpt it as well, because he's a different person now.
There were lots of trapped souls in this dark place who had been waiting.
Fucking Pixar-ass trapped children's souls. Bullshit. I talked about this last time, so I'm not going to go into detail. I hate this fucking... The laziest AI animation stuff and AI art. Because it is so, lowest common denominator, most popular sort of art. I hate that it's all this bullshit Pixar style. And it annoys me in part because I had no problem with that style before, apart from maybe the designs of Pixar women are a little bit fucking strange, but in general, I didn't have any problem with people using this art style. Now I see it in every piece of AI art, it makes me want to scream. Ugh! Just fuck these children's souls, honestly. Just leave them. Who cares?
Waiting for help. They saw Jesus and felt happy and safe.
I'm sorry. That's a demon. What's going on with its... Why is its body the texture of its hair? Don't think I didn't notice that that's what that is. That's its hair. It's a little monkey man. And let's just have a look at that blink again. Oh, look, I've managed to pause it mid-blink. That's what a blink is, isn't it? When a different set of pupils appears over your own pupils. I like this one solid, woodchuck tooth as well. That's nice.
And safe. His light was like the warm, comforting sun after a long, dark night. Jesus reached out to them, and they could feel his kindness and love. Jesus Christ, it's like every shot gets worse and worse. Look now at these souls and their eyes, and they're like, what's this? It's like a little gang of veiled women. Jesus led these souls out of the dark place.
Oh, now we're back to the lich thing. What's going on here? Why are they like this now? It was like shot one of the lost souls. Little Pixar children. 2, they become veiled women with no eyes. 3, they're fucking creepy spirit hags. Bony finger. What the fuck is happening?
The shadows tried to...
Maybe that's intentional. Maybe it's like a really long journey out of hell. So those children grew up to become veiled women who grew up to become... spirit hags and okay.
To come back. But Jesus' light was like a shield, keeping everyone safe as they walked through...
Whoa, hold on a second. Do you see that? Jesus is doing some kind of weird dark magic compromise stuff, because now he's got all his fingers back, but something very strange has happened to his thumb.
Safe as they walked through the darkness. The shadows couldn't touch them at all because Jesus was protecting them. This adventure...
Oh, he's back to his 3 fingers. What? The shadows couldn't touch them. Fucking baby demon burning in lava. What do you do? What? That's not what you said. I feel like the visuals and the audio isn't quite matching up here.
The picture of Jesus in hell was like...
Okay, that's my favourite Jesus. Why does this Jesus look like that? He looks like fucking Desperate Dan. That's so fucking weird.
A rescue mission. He was the hero, bringing light and hope to a place where nobody thought it was possible. It shows how brave and powerful Jesus is, and that he can bring happiness and light even to the...
It's a little Casper. Just throw in a little Casper. Why not? It'll be funny. It looks completely I mean, the spirits have looked different in every single shot so far. Why not make one of them a little hilarious ghost?
Darkest places. After this incredible journey, Jesus came back to life. We celebrate this when we talk about Easter. It's a time to remember how Jesus beat darkness and brought the chance for everyone to go to heaven.
And the ending shot. Beautiful erupting hand from the flames with the light above it, and it's got 3 fucking fingers. Guys, if you didn't see the last video, welcome to Bible in a Nutshell. I just don't understand. If you're going to the trouble. I appreciate that there is effort involved. You don't just say, AI, make me a movie, and it magically pops out. I appreciate there is some amount of work involved. Not as much as if you hired actual artists, but whatever. But is it that demanding? Is it that much of a problem to regenerate images when they're fucked up? Do they look at this and go, wow, that's beautiful, although he's missing a finger? Oh well. Like, what's the thought process? How does that happen? Okay, I want to show you the description real quick. First of all, this caught my attention. How can you support us? This is how we make our living. Somebody's making a living from shitty AI Bible in a Nutshell YouTube? Excuse me? Get products designed with love. Shop releasing soon. Now, this is a 5-month-old video, so I am going to go on their channel in a minute and check if that exists yet. But I am so curious as to how they can have a shop when all of their materials are AI generated. And again, based on the fucking Pixar-ness of it all, they're clearly using copyrighted content, right? How can they possibly have a shop other than the fact that plenty of people have shops selling copyrighted content and it's just not fucking monitored? So just by being bad people or having zero understanding of the law. Probably the former, in my opinion. Join the Patreon Nutshell family. They have a Patreon. So this really is their income. Not only that, look at the number of channels they have. History in a Nutshell. Scared in a Nutshell? That doesn't even make fucking sense. Sci-fi in a Nutshell. Earth in a Nutshell. Life in a Nutshell. Mythology in a Nutshell. It feels like that's already, like, you don't need Bible in a Nutshell and mythology in a nutshell. And Explained in a Nutshell, which also feels like it would, like, do you need Earth in a Nutshell and Explained in a Nutshell? It feels like they're just hammering out as much as possible. And then they have music channels. Bible in a Nutshell music. Lo-Fi Animals, and Bonjour Paris, and you can listen to their music on Spotify. I mean, if they're actually making their own music, that's probably the most work that goes into these. It still has the same disclaimer as last time, where it says, do not react to our videos without an email. So they clearly didn't see my last video, because otherwise they would have known that that was stupid and illegal, and they would have removed it, I'm sure. Just, it's so low effort, and then the fact that they have like 10 low effort channels and they're getting money on fucking Patreon, and I hate it. Bible in a Nutshell, I hate you. You are the antithesis of art. There's so many people putting so much work, putting their time and effort and years of training and developing skills into creating art of different kinds and trying desperately to make a living from that. And then some fucking who the fuck ever comes along and is like, AI generation is cool. Look at all these things that our team make. Now it's our copyright. You're not allowed to react to it. Please buy our stuff and send us money on Patreon. Like, what the fuck gives you the right? Dear Lord, please give me the strength to deal with Nutshell Productions. I need another coffee. So let's talk about the actual content for a second. Jesus' trip to hell, aka the Harrowing of Hell, probably more appropriately known as the descent into Hades, right, than hell, at least in the Greek translations. I was a little bit baffled just seeing this video and then, like, scrolling down the comments and seeing people be like, this is amazing. I didn't even know that Jesus went to hell. My friend, that's because he didn't. This isn't, like, there's a different fucking AI animation channel advertising themselves here. Oh, I hate it. This is nice AI work? No. I meant to say that the information stated on this video is incorrect, and it says nowhere in the Bible that Jesus went to hell. Thanks. So at least a couple of people have caught that. So the Harrowing of Hell, it's kind of a weird one. It comes from the sort of early Christian tradition. It's told in the Apostles' Creed. It appears in the Gospel of Nicodemus, aka the Acts of Pilate, which is an apocryphal text. Sometimes I think it's kind of arbitrary which apocrypha people believe in. Like, every sort of evangelical that I see on YouTube seems to take the Book of Enoch as, like, genuine scripture. I don't know about the Acts of Pilate, whatever. So it's sort of based on early Christian creeds and apocryphal texts. In the Hebrew Bible, you have Sheol, which I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, so I apologize. You know, I should look it up instead of just getting it wrong. Okay, pretty much everybody seems to be saying Sheol, so I'm going to go with that and correct me if I'm wrong. So in the Hebrew Bible, Sheol is kind of this place where all dead people go, sort of the Catholic purgatory, right? Righteous or unrighteous, it's a darker, still place where the souls of the dead go. The New Testament makes a bit of a distinction between Sheol, this sort of waiting place, and eternal damnation, aka hell. You can make connections to the harrowing of hell in some New Testament passages. It really does come more from the early traditions more than scripturally. It's kind of one of those things where you can fit the scripture to match the story if you want to, like you can with so many things. But at least in terms of the descent into hell, he doesn't really descend into hell. He essentially descends into Sheol, where the spirits are waiting. Once you're in hell, you're damned, right? That's eternal damnation. There's nothing you can do. Jesus didn't go into hell. He went into the sort of waiting room before hell and carried some people out. If you believe in that story. Part of it comes from, people say, because Matthew says that the veil in the temple was torn in two and people rose from the dead, which is something that people always forget when telling the story of the crucifixion and the resurrection. We never get the full zombie version, which I think is a shame. So that's supposed to be like Jesus destroying death. It's like literally bringing the corpses back to life. I don't know, man. But essentially, Jesus going to hell, as told in this story, is not scriptural. Like, not at all. It's kind of absurd. So once again, I am questioning the faith and the knowledge of the people making these supposedly informative videos. Sort of like, oh, this is a story I've heard. I'm not going to bother to look it up to see if there's a scriptural basis for it. It's just like some early Catholic tradition. It sounds cool. We can make Jesus sound really cool. It's almost like they picked their stories from like a children's collection of cool stories about Jesus that just borrows from different apocryphal texts and stuff. It's really weird. And if I'm honest, it pisses me off a little bit. Real quick, while we're on the subject of Catholicism, it would be remiss of me not to mention the latest news from the Vatican, because we're at the tail end. I guess it depends on how optimistically you view the future, but we're at least at the tail end of several years of discussion on the role of women in the church, right? Pope Francis has been a little bit all over the place when it comes to progressive thinking, so I was kind of interested in this document that the Vatican has just produced on women in leadership roles in the church. This is a particularly interesting story for studying media bias, which is why I'm using today's sponsor, Ground News. You can see here we have 41 articles to look at, with the majority of sources leaning left, 47%, not very much covered by right-leaning sources. Interesting. So we have this left-leaning article from ABC Australia called "A Vatican Document Says Women Need Fuller Recognition in the Catholic Church, but Not as Deacons." This immediately highlights the problem from a progressive viewpoint, whereas this right-leaning article from the Straits Times, Catholic Church Split on Women Deacons, Vatican Documents Show. This right-leaning article from the Straits Times highlights the information provided in the document, as well as quotes from Pope Francis, but it doesn't mention any of the comments by women's advocacy groups that you see in other articles. The bias issues are pretty obvious in a story like this, right? The bias towards belief in religious publications puts higher importance on the Pope and the deacons, all of whom are male. So in a lot of these right-leaning stories, we're not getting the perspective of the people who are actually affected by the conversation, the women who are advocating for a better role within the church. Plus, stories like this are often lacking in context. For example, I saw one article out of all the ones I looked at that mentioned that historically in early Christianity, there were women deacons, which feels like kind of an important point in the discussion. That's why I like to use Ground News for my media consumption. It makes those biases obvious from the get-go. It's really easy to consult multiple sources from different biases. Ground News was created by a former NASA engineer to help users better navigate the media. It gathers articles from more than 50,000 sources all across the world, so you can compare how different outlets cover the same story. Plus, you have easy access to all the important information like who owns the source, what is their political bias, how reliable is their reporting. All those things are backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organisations. One of the most interesting features for me is the My News Bias page. It's basically a report on your own bias. I can see that while most of the stories that I've read were balanced, most of the articles that I selected were from left-leaning sources. I can also see that my news reading is pretty limited to just a few countries, so there's like a few things I can work on here thanks to this data. Also, apparently 5% of the news organisations I read are owned by the Walt Disney Company. I didn't even know they owned news sources. I highly recommend checking out Ground News's Vantage subscription. That's what I use to access features like My News Bias and unlimited access to the blind spot feed, which is a huge part in helping me diversify my news consumption. Go to groundnews.com/Emma Thorne to give it a try. If you sign up through my link, you'll get 40% off of the Vantage plan, which is what I use to get unlimited access to all of these features. Not only does that help me as a creator, but it also supports Ground News in their important work in breaking down media bias. In my opinion, that's more important now than ever. I really hope you'll check them out. I just want to see quickly what they actually offer. So this is specifically for Bible in a nutshell. I think that's so interesting, and their description here is like, your contributions enable us to spread God's message far and wide. But they don't just do Bible in a nutshell, they do loads of in a nutshell shit, like having Scary in a nutshell, which is the stupidest name ever, does not help spread God's message. And also, their stories are like inaccurate. And I fucking hate this nut guy. Not only does it look different in every image because it's created by fucking AI and they don't put that much effort into it, but what the fuck, what is this eyebrow shit? I hate this. 30 members. It's 30 too many. Believer entry tier. You get, there's a Discord, early access to their episodes, and wallpapers with Christian themes. It's an insult to Christians. That's what it is. Exclusive Christian music tracks. Digital colouring books. Request a unique custom-made song for a loved one. I'm starting to wonder if their music is AI generated. Oh, you get behind the scenes content from there. Well, I would be curious. $300? They have a $300 a month tier? There's no way. Nope. Should I have a $300 a month tier? There's no fucking way. The fact that they have that as an option makes me angry. Because there's no fucking way. Especially not with 30 members. Nobody's gonna pay $300 a month to this shitty AI-generated, clearly using copyrighted material, the future of Christian entertainment. God, what the fuck? Oh, look, they've done what angels look like in the Bible. Okay, I might have to look at that. But I do want to quickly check out their other channels. Sci-Fi in a Nutshell doesn't have any content. Ugh, that fucking picture makes me
in the Bible.
Sick. No. Oh, blah, blah. Oh, History has some videos. Life of Pablo Escobar. Napoleon Bonaparte. ChatGPT predicts World War III. I fucking hate you. Ragnar Lothbrok, King Leonidas, Sitting Bull. Why is that eagle so happy? Abraham Lincoln, Zeus. What's Zeus doing in the history one? Why is that not on the mythology? You see, there's not even like a proper distinction. It just, Earth doesn't have it. They've just made all of these channels being like, we could whip out some shit for this, easy. They don't even have videos. Mythology doesn't have any videos, of course, because the videos that should be on there are on their other channels. Explained in a Nutshell doesn't have any videos. So they've just got all these empty channels ready for when they've got enough money to fund making all of these AI videos. Oh, fuck, it pisses me off so much, dude. Let's have a look at their music channels real quick. Born in Bethlehem official music video. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to play it for you because it is their copyrighted music. You will be unsurprised to hear that it is auto-tuned to shit and the lyrics are garbage. I'm not even sure I understood the first bit. In a quiet little town, beneath the starred sky. I swear that's what the lyrics are. Beneath the starred sky? Yeah, the auto-generated captions think it was started as well. Did ChatGPT write their fucking songs for them? And then they just recorded them and auto-tuned them and put some fucking beats underneath? Or there's no drums, so I don't know why I said beats. I'm just gonna write down what I think the lyrics are as I hear them, so I can give you my own rendition with the animation, because, gosh, I don't want them to sue me for playing their own original beautiful work that they put so much effort into. That doesn't make any sense, but I think that's what they said. In a quiet little town, beneath a starred sky, a precious baby boy was born, the angels filled the night, the donkey sang a melody, the cows began to dance, the sheep joined in with babas, it was a joyful circumstance. It's a joyful circumstance. Oh my Christ! The stars above sparkled more brightly than before. guiding wise men from afar to this humble stable door. That's quite good. I quite like that bit. They brought with them gifts of gold, frankincense and myrrh, to honor him, the King of Kings, whose love would spread the word. This bit's all right, isn't it? I mean, you can only hear my awful version, but this bit's much better. This sounds like a Christian song that would come on and you'd be all right singing along to this. It's a bit of a tune. It's the actual story. Why did it start with fucking the bars and the donkeys having a solo? And like, why did it start as this weird fucking barnyard song? By the way, there is my God, that baby Jesus is terrifying. So there is drums. There's drums, a bit of piano, and auto-tuned to hell. It's a man's voice, like, here is the baby Jesus, I love him so much. It's like, it's kind of that vibe, but auto-tuned to absolute shit. If I knew how to auto-tune my voice, I'd do it so you could understand. Maybe I'll learn for this video, who knows? See how much time I have this week. Guys, I should learn how to do this and make my own Christian song, Bible in a nutshell music style. Because I suspect they have about as much expertise as I do. Which is none. Well, I'm definitely following them on Spotify. All right, just a quick look because they have a lo-fi animals. Oh, thank God these have, like, no views. Wild West lo-fi hip-hop cowboy vibes mix. I can't play it for you because it's music, but it opens with a distant voice going, yeah. All right, fuck me. Okay, that's the other channels. Bible in a nutshell's largely empty other channels. Their awful music is exactly as low effort as you would expect. Let's have a quick look at what angels look like in the Bible.
In the Bible, angels are special messengers from God. They show up at important times to deliver messages, provide guidance, or offer protection.
It's all right.
Like when the angel Gabriel visited Mary to tell her she would have a special son named Jesus. Some angels almost look like ordinary people.
Some angels look like sexy Pixar women.
Like when angels visited Abraham to tell him about his future son, Isaac. Or when two angels went...
Holy shit. If that's what the angel looked like, no wonder they always fucking say, don't be afraid. Hi! I'm a messenger of God. Fucking scary.
Son, Isaac. Or when two angels went to help Lot in the city of Sodom, they looked like regular men. People could talk to them without realizing right away.
They looked like regular men. Bro, why do their videos regular men look like this? Greetings, fellow humans.
Way that they were talking to angels. But there are other angels who look extraordinary.
What fucking angel looks like that? Who's that? What's that shit? That's some sort of Pixar animated character.
Far from normal human beings. Like in Daniel's vision, where he sees an angel who looks like a man dressed in linen. Or when John had a vision on the island of Patmos, where he saw an angel coming down from heaven, wrapped in a cloud, with a rainbow over his head.
That looks like God. I mean, that looks like... You know what I mean. That looks like pictures of God.
His face was like the sun, and his legs were like fiery pillars. This angel was so bright and powerful that John could barely look into its dazzling light.
How the fuck did he know what it looked like then? Oh, I have problems with Daniel.
Some angels even have several wings, like the seraphim, seen by the prophet Isaiah. It stood above the throne of God with 6 wings.
Oh, it's cute! What's this little yeti winged fella?
6 wings. 2 that covered their faces, 2 that covered their feet, and 2 with which they flew. And the cherub...
I feel like they didn't... You know, they sort of forgot every shot. They were like, okay, 2 that did this, 2 that did this. No, they have all of those wings. They have... All 6 should be in the same picture. This one's just got 2.
Seen by the prophet Ezekiel, had 4 wings and many faces. A human face, a lion on the right side, an ox on the left side, and an eagle.
This 100% symbolic. Whatever. If you want to believe there really is an angel with the head of a human, the head of a lion, and the head of an ox, you can believe that.
Making them look unlike anything on earth.
Who's that?
Even though these angels might sound a bit scary, they often start their messages with, "Do not be afraid."
Yeah, because they're fucking scary. If they weren't scary, bro, they wouldn't have to say that. They'd just be like, hello. You have to know that you're terrifying looking to be like, hey, Don't be afraid. Imagine if that was how we introduced ourselves. Hi, don't be afraid. My name's Emma. Welcome to my channel.
They are not here to frighten people. They're here to bring good news.
Why do they look so fucking frightening? They've done the complete Bible in a nutshell. You can't do the whole Bible in 3 minutes 40. That's like 10 years of lectures to go through the Old Testament and the New Testament. Are you serious?
In the beginning, God created the world. In just 6 days, he made the sun, the moon, the stars,
Okay, let me stop before we go any further. What percentage of this do we think is Genesis? I'm going to say 30% Genesis, despite it being the whole Bible in a nutshell.
Land and oceans, plants, animals, and finally, humans. He called everything good, but humans were special because they could talk with God, love, and make choices. God made a beautiful garden for the first humans, Adam and Eve.
Who are white as all fuck. They were the whitest white, skinny, handsome Pixar people. They shouldn't be wearing clothes at this point. I'm sorry. Hello. Bible in a nutshell. I've got another scriptural inaccuracy in your shitty fucking videos. They don't wear clothes until they've already betrayed God because they're not aware of their nakedness, or, you know, they're not aware of good and bad. They don't know that they're naked or that that's a problem until they've eaten the fruit and talked to the snake and all that shit. Sorry, 20 seconds in and your Bible in a nutshell is fucking wrong.
They could eat from any tree except one, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God warned them that eating from this tree would cause bad things to happen. But a sneaky snake, the cleverest of all the creatures God had made, tricked them into eating the
God had made. Just a reminder. Also, all 4 of her fingers are the exact same size. It's a little bit weird. That's fine. That's not a Bible in a nutshell problem. That's a Hebrew Bible problem. God made human beings, gave them free will and curiosity, and also made a sneaky snake that could talk to them and lead them astray. And then he punished them for it. What a dickhead.
fruit. When they ate it, everything changed. They realized they were naked and felt ashamed.
Thank you.
Because they didn't listen. Pain, sadness, and death came into the world, and God sent them out of the garden. One day, someone special would come to fix everything and bring them back to Him. For many, many years, God's people waited for this promise. This promise was passed down through generations by heroes of faith. Like Noah, who built a huge boat to save his family and animals from the great flood.
That God sent to kill everyone else and all the other animals. Just throwing that out there.
Abraham, who left his home because he trusted God's promise. Moses, who led God's people out of being slaves in Egypt.
See, I knew it. All that Genesis, I guess it is the creation of the world, but all that Genesis, and then it's like, and Abraham and Noah, and just fucking speeding through all of these pretty important figures.
And David, a young boy who defeated a giant and became a king.
Why does he look like that? Yeah, I'm David. Of David and Goliath fame. You might have heard of me. Who's this fucking guy?
These stories had something in common. They showed that God always keeps his promises, and that he was planning something.
God always keeps his promises. Like when he promised never to flood the earth again and kill everyone. Because that was bad. That was really, probably shouldn't have done that. It wasn't very nice.
Amazing. All the prophets who could speak God's messages told about a coming Messiah, a king who would save.
They didn't. The prophets didn't all talk of a coming Messiah. That's another one of those you can fit scripture to sort of vaguely suggest what you want if you manipulate it hard enough. Don't look at the people's eyes in the background of this shot.
Save everyone, and his kingdom would last forever. Many years later, a baby was born in a humble place, a stable where animals slept.
There they are
this
again.
This baby was Jesus.
It's the same animals from the music video. So they're reusing shots. How economical.
Jesus, the one everyone had been waiting for, the hero that was promised long ago. From his first breath, it was clear he was special.
Is this Jesus or Snow White? Like whispering to the birds.
Angels sang, shepherds visited, and
Elsa,
wise
the
men
angel.
from far away brought gifts.
Let's just see what they said because, oh, you know what? For AI text, this is actually pretty good. Gold, Ramses, and myrrh.
Jesus grew up to be a man who did amazing things. He healed sick people just by touching them or speaking a word.
He was kind of a bitch about it sometimes, though. Just remember that.
He made blind people see and even calmed storms. He told stories that made people think and feel differently about life. But not everyone was happy with Jesus. Some were scared of the change he represented. They didn't understand he was the king God had promised and plotted against him. Jesus was betrayed by a friend, and even though he had done nothing wrong...
Wow, that's like Gospel of Mark levels of fear. Right on. That's my favourite one.
He was punished like a criminal. Jesus died on a cross, a terrible way to die. It seemed like hope died with him.
There's the fucking weird crying person. Oh, it doesn't look like mascara dripping down this time. That is fucking sad. I miss the mascara parents.
But 3 days later, something incredible happened. Jesus came back to life.
No.
Show...
Again, just like the actual video on the crucifixion and resurrection, that's not what happened. There wasn't some dude outside that was like, and then Jesus was like popped up out of the tomb like, hello!
Oh, that not even death is more powerful than God's love. It was the proof that Jesus really was the one God sent to save us and open the way to heaven. After Jesus came back to life, he visited... Did you hear that? It's like a really quiet sound effect of somebody being like, ugh, like he's just woken up from a 3-day nap. Don't forget, he was in hell, playing with the little snakes and whatever. His friends to teach them more about God's kingdom. Then... Finglers. Way too many finglers. He went back to heaven, promising to send help. That help came as the Holy Spirit, guiding us to believe in Jesus so that we can be close to God again. That was not the Bible in a nutshell. That was like a little bit of Genesis, mentioning the names of like Abraham and Isaac and Noah and everyone. Jesus' birth and I guess it's like the hot talking points. Man, I gotta stop there. I was gonna look at Sodom and Gomorrah, but I don't have the spoons for any more. I gotta stop. If you want to see more Bible in a nutshell, let me know. If there's other channels like this that you want me to take a look at, also let me know. I just lament that this exists. I lament like this kind of bottom of the barrel, let's make this as quickly and cheaply and lazily as possible. Everything we have is generated by AI, even our own mascot, which is a person whose head is a nut, which is I already hate that. Even that is AI generated. The one thing we make is music. Don't know how they do that. Feel like maybe some of that is using AI as well. They get some of their stories through ChatGPT. A lot of their content just isn't scripturally accurate, which is like, just feels offensive to like the Christians that this is supposed to be made for, because it's not actually made for them. It's not like, how can we make something that will engage young Christians and get them interested and be visually appealing and blah, 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 because that stuff already exists. This is, how can we make money? How can we make something that gets more views and directs people to our Patreon so that they might consider being a $300 a month member, because we're doing this under the guise of spreading the word of God. I think that's so gross. That's just really offensive to people's actual faith, in my opinion. Well, load of fucking shit. It seems like their store isn't yet open. Can't wait to see what copyright laws they break when they open that up. It's probably just going to be the nutshell character on like t-shirts and stuff. That would be my guess. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do consider giving it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss future videos. Check out previous videos. There's a whole bunch of playlists on my channel. Check out Emma Thorne Backstage for behind the scenesy kind of stuff and general life vlogs, opening my PO Box mail, getting back to that ASAP, because otherwise that channel's gonna get demonetized because I haven't posted in so long. Because I've been doing a musical, which I will also talk about on that channel. If you just like hearing my voice, if you're one of those people that finds my voice sends you to sleep, consider checking out my gaming channel. I post over there at least twice a week. There's lots of stuff over there. We've got some PS2 games going on. We've got Jack 2 going on right now. I'm loving it. Some spooky little horror games, all kinds of stuff. Do consider checking it out. Do check out Ground News, today's sponsor, using my link.
I do genuinely think they're a really, really good resource and it helps me out. The best way to support this channel and what I do here is via the Patreon. The tiers do not go up to $300. I'm afraid I don't offer anything quite that high level. With that, I must give a big shout out and a thank you to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon. Especially Connla. God damn it, Connla. Most importantly, have yourselves a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.